want to ask you about a couple of reforms in your state which have grabbed attention. First of all, the Autism Minister. A couple of decades ago, it was a relatively rare diagnosis, autism. Now you look at the NDIS, for those under 18, 55% of NDIS recipients have an autism diagnosis. So I guess there's greater awareness around that disability. Can you explain the tipping point that informed your decision to appoint an autism minister?
One of the benefits of a period in opposition, Kieran, is it gives you the opportunity to get out and engage in the community that sometimes government doesn't allow you to achieve just because of time pressures and constraints. And everywhere I went, when I was out in the community over our period in opposition, I honestly couldn't go to a town hall forum, to the shopping centre, a street corner meeting, without a parent somewhere raising the frustrations they had because of their autistic child not getting support that they require, particularly in the school setting. So we set up autism forums and a range of other efforts to try and come up with a policy proposition to address those concerns. And it was just the overwhelming consistency of this being raised. I mean, during the week I went to a couple of primary schools, and I went into one school classroom in Shido Park here in South Australia in the sort of inner southern suburbs. And I went in the classroom and there were 3 children there that were autistic in the classroom, needing extra support. So this is prolific. Now, I'm not one to be able to provide a commentary or a thoughtful analysis around why we've seen this dramatic spike in the number of autism cases, but it is real. Parents are crying out for support. There's been a lot of effort around our country to acknowledge people from minority groups and a lot of awareness around it that's elevated the platform for reform for some minorities. But the neurodiverse community is huge. And I think there's been a largely silent response at least a political policy level. And I guess we're trying to address that here in South Australia, and we aspire to be a national leader in this regard, because there are a lot of families out there, a lot of young people out there crying out for support.
What would you say to parents that might be concerned if their kids have got other disabilities, that they might miss out on some of the focus if there is such a great focus specifically on autism?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that feedback has come through to us. I mean, naturally, we've still got all the resident government support, and we've got a Minister for Disabilities here in South Australia who's been a passionate advocate in this area pretty much her most of her working life. So that effort is maintained. We just see a particularly acute need with autism, principally because of the sheer volume of cases without much attention, and that's why we thought it deserves a specific person responsible for addressing it. It's one of my assistant ministers. She's passionate about young people's education. The other thing I'll just point out, Kieran, and this is, I think, worthy of some consciousness, where you have a child in a classroom that has autism, or potentially 2 or 3 of them that are autistic, they require a lot more attention from the teacher so they can reach their potential, which is always substantial. But sometimes that pressure on the teacher takes them away from other students in the classroom, which means nobody really wins. So this isn't just about our policies, particularly in the education setting, aren't just about helping young people with autism. It's about making sure that everybody in the classroom gets the attention they require so they can fulfil their potential. So the fact that it doesn't just affect autistic people, but everyone in our community, I think demonstrates why this is worthy of a particular resource and a particular effort from government.